welcome you inside our New York City studios. Mets Playoffs Extra presented by Chevy. It is over at Wrigley Field in Chicago. Mets get the win by a final of 5-2. They are now just a win away from punching their ticket to the 2015 World Series. Amazing story the Mets are writing. Gary Apple sitting alongside Nelson Figueroa, Bobby Valentine, Gary Cohen's here, Keith Hernandez as well. Steve Gelb's going to join us from Chicago. Plenty of post-game reaction on the way. Let's begin here. And listen, this has been a formula we have seen throughout this postseason. Tremendous starting pitching. Daniel Murphy again. What else is new? And then Jeurys Familia at the back end of the bullpen. And we spoke on our pregame show, Bobby, about the need to not let down, being up 2-0. We saw none of that.
So you saw none of that. You saw Murphy coming out of the box and hitting another home run. So what's new there? But what is new is that this team played very aggressively tonight, even with Curtis Granderson getting thrown out after getting on base in the first inning. They kept running. They kept moving. It was Cespedes stealing third base and scoring on a wild pitch. That really was the deciding offensive factor. Great job by Mr. DeGrom again. He's a terrific pitcher.
He really is. 7 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, both of them coming via the home run. Struggled a little bit early on, but we saw him find his groove. I really thought he found it around the 5th inning when things started to kick in for him.
You know, when we talk about DeGrom, what is it exactly? What is it when he's dealing out there and he doesn't have that fastball early on, doesn't have the command of the fastball? The velocity was there, but it was the command. He was off. He was trying to do a little bit too much, then had to get his composure, really find himself. That pitch he threw Schwarber was not a bad pitch. You're talking about a ball that was almost 10.5 inches off the plate. He was able to muscle out of the stadium for a home run. That's you got to tip your cap at some point. But then DeGrom went in and settled in, did what we said he would do if he couldn't find that fastball, use his secondary pitches throughout the strike zone, start setting hitters up a little bit differently, and was tremendous all for the 7 innings.
Well, he struck out a number, 7 Cubs on the night and retired the last 11 that he faced. And we spoke on our pregame show about Jacob DeGrom on the big stage. We saw him at the All-Star game. We've seen him here in the postseason. This is a guy, Bobby, who seems primed to deliver when the spotlight is shining brightest.
Yeah, and when he was delivering was after the team got the lead. In the 6th inning, the Mets took a 3-2 lead, and it was lights out. The next 6 guys, it was like a hot knife through butter. He went 1, 2, 3 in the 6th. He went 1, 2, 3 in the 7th. He could have gone out in the 8th and the 9th because he was rolling, but he has a few more wins left in this season. I think we'll save him before for the next series.
Well, the DeGrom story is certainly one that is being written in a very favorable fashion. He wins Game 1 against the Dodgers, wins Game 5 against the Dodgers, and now Game 3 against the Cubs. They've all been on the road, so most road wins in postseason history. Jacob DeGrom is now tied with Madison Bumgarner and Cliff Lee, Freddie Garcia, and John Smoltz, the company there, Gary Cohen. Pretty impressive.
You know, and you talk about the poise of Jacob DeGrom. Think about these last 2 starts. These are huge spots on the road, and in both Game 5 against the Dodgers and tonight, it just wasn't going well for him early. He gave up 3 hits in the first inning, all on his fastball, threw 29 pitches in that first inning, had a 1-0 lead, gave it back on the home run by Schwarber. But as was the case in Los Angeles, instead of melting in that kind of a situation, he only got better.
He doesn't melt. He just fights through. And really, the wind was blowing out today, and I had a little trepidation about the wind blowing out. The Schwarber home run was really, he kind of flicked the bat out on a ball outside of the strike zone, one-handed, and it went out of the ballpark. That's Wrigley Field when the wind's blowing out. Now, Soler's home run was a bolt. But what came out to the fore was that Jacob first found his changeup as his first secondary pitch in around the 3rd, 4th inning, and then around the 4th and 5th inning, he found his sharp slider, and that was it from there on. He shut the door like all aces do when the Mets gave him the lead. That was it.
He only gave up 1 hit after the first inning. That was the Soler home run on a 3-1 fastball, and then he retired 11 in a row. And as Bobby said, it seemed once the Mets got the lead, whether it was DeGrom kicking it in an extra gear or the job that was done behind him by the bullpen, the Cubs just seemed to They faded.
Well, you know, they've won 97 ball games, but their corner outfield positions, their defense raised its ugly head today. And it was a misplayed ball by Soler. It came in on that base hit that cost him a run. The ball that rolled back to the ivy that was ruled a ground rule double. Very fortunate that it got stuck in the ivy. And then Schwarber later in the game, where they gave Cespedes a base hit, it should have been an error all the way. But nonetheless, another misplayed ball. So the defense was a very big big part. The poor defense of the Cubs was a very big part of the Met win.
Back to DeGrom now, 3-0 in the postseason. He's just been a phenomenal element for the Mets at the front of their rotation, and it might certainly behoove the Mets to wrap this series up quickly, because now you'll have DeGrom on full rest, ready for the World Series.
Yes, and I'm a little tired myself. I need a few days off. So let's wrap it up.